All right, good evening, everyone. This is Kenneth Price, and this is Wednesday, October 26th, and this is our 33rd midweek Zoom call for the ministry I'm hosting, psychiatricsobriety.com. And we get together twice a week on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time and Wednesday evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And, well, what do we do here? Who are we? What do we do? Well, I'll speak for myself. I'm 55 years old. My name is Kenneth Price, and I have a psychiatric parable. And I was 25 years in psychiatry, asking my doctor to fix the chemical imbalance in my brain, because when I was a young man, they came up with this chemical imbalance theory. And they said, we have these new medications that can ameliorate the chemical imbalance and repair things. Well, no disrespect to psychiatry, but it didn't work. It actually, after 25 years, they had turned me into some sort of a chemical lab rat, polydrugged experiment. So I'm here to state for the record, for this man's parable, it didn't work. That's fine, but that's not true. It did work, because all that, I get to start this amazing ministry. It wasn't just psych meds, folks. It was also benzodiazepines. It wasn't just psych meds and benzodiazepines. I'm a 12-stepper. I have a history of addiction. So, am I a licensed therapist? No. Am I actually a credentialed minister? No. Am I a doctor? No. Am I a miracle? Yes. So what do you want? If you want a miracle, join us twice a week and watch, my 137 videos. They're clunky. They're kind of redundant, but just watch them and get the gist of how it's done. How do you emerge from all that? You emerge, the way we came in? No. You emerge a healed caterpillar? No. You go through the cocoon and by the grace of God, you emerge as the butterfly. Nothing's gone wrong, something's gone right. I wouldn't be hosting this ministry if I didn't, I can laugh now, and we have to, but I wouldn't be hosting this ministry if I didn't know how painful and how difficult and how frightening it is. Let's see, I'm not going to see, looks like I got 3 other participants on board. So one of the ways I stay emerged every single day, this is one day at a time, is I extend and share and support. So that's basically my 5-minute introduction. Looks like we're going on 3 minutes. All right, so folks, when I first started this, I had a learning curve, and the learning curve has, it's because I've learned so much. We've all agreed that this has to be a ministry. Is it a Christian ministry? No. Is it a religious ministry? No. But when I said we can't go back the way we came, it has to have an element of spirit, higher power. Choose whatever works for you in your story, but it's that faith, it's that grace which pulls us into the butterfly. And I got to make this point very clear. It's the pain that pushes us. And some people do get stuck, in what's called a protraction. It's not a problem. It just means you're in the cocoon longer than is probably necessary. It's the pain that pushes us. It's the grace that pulls us. Push and pull. Push. I mean, think of it like giving birth. The woman does the pushing and the doctor has to pull. That's kind of a gross analogy, but all right. So because it's a ministry, we have to say, well, okay, a few disclaimers. All right. In order to keep all of us safe, we're not telling anyone to get off their meds. As a matter of fact, that's completely outside of our scope of authority. We're not even here we're not here to talk about taper schedules. We're not here to talk about specific meds and specific symptoms. Why? Because there's a better way. And I know how difficult it is when you're coming off these meds. Listen, I came off of 4 milligrams of K. I can't say the actual medication because we're all being censored here, but I spent 2 years on 4 milligrams of K. And in addition to that, you've heard what I said, countless psych meds. Maybe you've got ADHD, maybe you've got bipolar, maybe you're this, maybe you're that. Let's try this. Let's down, on and on and on and on. This is the story, the parable that we all come in here with. So there are many places where you can go to get, you do have to have a doctor if you've chosen to come off of your meds. You've got to get that information somewhere else. So just for my disclaimers, we're not telling anybody that they need to get off their meds. We're not going to even go in that direction. We're a ministry to support others who have already made that decision or would like to receive, experience, strength, and hope, and a testimony from someone who's already done it. And I'm leaving all the information out there for anybody who's interested. It's on my website, psychiatricsobriety.com. So that's what we're all about. But I have to be clear on one thing. If you are going to choose to rethink pharmacology, you must have a spiritual foundation first. That's the reason that I've created this whole ministry. Without a spiritual foundation, folks, it can be just learn from my mistakes. Do it. You can make it a lot easier on yourself. I learned so much. It's the reason I did this ministry, because I learned so much. I'm done talking. It's a ministry. I'm going to say the healer's prayer to start off with. I'm a Course in Miracles student. You don't have to be a Course in Miracles student, but a lot of the language I use comes from this chosen path, and it's called the healer's prayer. We are here only to be truly helpful, and we are here to represent him or her who sent us. We do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he or she who sent us will direct us. We are content to be wherever he or she wishes, knowing that he or she goes there with us. And the best part of the healer's prayer, we will be healed as we let him or her teach us how to heal. All right, folks, I'm in Utah now. Just maybe I'm like a traveling mystic. Let's see. Look, it says we got 4 participants, so I can go over to gallery view. Let's see, we got Kat, hey Watson, hey beloved, 4 regulars. How's everyone been? How's your week going? Nice, yeah, smile. Who wants to share? Who wants to express? Who needs to cry, scream, yell? Who needs to? It's fair game here, because put in your restrictions. But someone's got to go, because I'm tired today and I don't have any topics.
I could yell for you if you'd like. It's
buddy, if you would do nothing more than scream on this Zoom call, we'll that for you. Yeah, it's all right.
It's okay. No, it's not a bad thing, honestly. I think it's more of a breakthrough than anything else. And I've been way too introspective the last few weeks, and I've discovered that I have been a closet angry person for my whole life, and I never knew how to express anger well at all. And I keep doing the same meditation over every single morning, and that's actually uncovering quite a bit from what I think is my past as a child. And it's no wonder I have so many GI effects or side effects from holding all that crap inside. And the catharsis that's going on with this meditation it just gets more intense every single time I do it. And it's good. It's good. And yes, I'm an angry person, that I have repressed a lot of anger, and it's good that I'm doing this, and I'm grateful for y'all, and I love y'all for including me, and it's wow. I feel like my path it's never going to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. This is perfection. I am perfection. We're all perfection. Nature is perfection. That's God. But I don't think any of us can really improve upon that in the physical realm, but it's really refreshing to me to understand that life is such a paradox. It's everything is what we call in chemistry an isomer. And I think I mentioned that on a previous call. It's a mirror image of what we think. But it's good. It's good to unlearn a lot of stuff that I thought I knew was the right thing to do. I don't think there is a right and wrong way to do so many things, or life in general. And the rising up above the cross, as you so eloquently, or you and beloved so eloquently put it in previous sessions, the climbing up from the cross into the vertical, it's a challenge, but it's exciting. And I guess bottom line is, I get more excited every day that I can overcome things that I think happened in my past, and just kind of not brush it off, but just kind of notice it and let it pass on by. But it's good. It's good. It's not great yet, but it's getting there for sure. And that's all I want to say right now.
Watson, can I speak to anger real quickly, because this is no accident that Kat and I are on board. Kat, can I share with you? Can I share with this YouTube archive my mini explosion that happened last Tuesday night after? Because this is I want to kind of bring this forward and archive it. Kat and I hosted an event Tuesday night. Our spiritual teacher David Hoffmeister came to Portland, Oregon, and I took on more than I bit off more than I could chew, and I think that goes for Kat too, both of us. When I get it's halt. We say this in 12 steps: hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Halt. I couldn't, or maybe I didn't believe I could. I still don't have clarity on that. And I got angry. And this is the hard part about my anger: is when I get angry, I project it out there. That's the hard part. And then instead of projecting it out there, I turn it inward. I swallow it, because that's what we were taught. Don't get my mom. No disrespect, Mom. Don't be angry. But Kat and I belong to a spiritual community where they just invite us to express, but then they require us to take responsibility. And by responsibility, we can express it. We're allowed to. Then the second responsibility is we have to take back the projection, own it. The third requirement is we then have to turn now once we can't do this using the mind that created the projection itself. So the third part of that is to turn it over, and we're Course in Miracles students, to the Holy Spirit. So it was Wednesday after the session, and I needed to express, but I was frightened because I knew it didn't have to do with my lovely friend Kat, but I still had to barf it out, throw it up with two other community members. It was frightening. And it was hard work, and I'm still not very good at it, but that's the model that has to be, we've got to purge it out, and then take responsibility, and then turn it over. Watson, we weren't taught this. If I had been taught all of these tools, I would have gone on the psych meds and the benzodiazepines in the first place. So our generation has, courageously, to courageously, choose to walk away from the pharmaceuticals and do the emotional work. Because I also had the GI issues. I had what's good, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I know. But the more we let out the emotions and the feelings, then we're going to catch ourselves quicker, be able to have authorship over our thoughts and projections sooner, and stay centered, for longer periods of time, if that was helpful. But I'm glad Kat came on board, because I didn't know how to express it. I was afraid if I expressed it, it would come out as shame. And it did. Some of it came out with shame-based language. I had to start where I was at to get to the, anyway, I hope that was helpful for the archive. Because if I hold it in, go back to the caterpillar and, psych meds and benzodiazepines. Anybody want to touch on that? We got a new member on board. Is it Carrie or is it Kari? Hi, how are you? Gary, it's nice to meet you. This is your first time on our Zoom call. You got Beloved, you got Watson, you got Kat and myself. How did you find us? You choose to want to share something? Or love to have you share with us anything you feel comfortable with.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Can you speak up? It's a little bit difficult, but if you speak up, then we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better.
Okay. Yeah. I found you on Facebook. Yeah, and I'm glad to join you.
Well, thank you. You missed my introduction. I give a 5-minute introduction to each one of these Zoom calls. I'm Kenneth Price. I'm 55. I spent 25 years of my life basically a chemical soup in psychiatry on all sorts of psych meds and benzodiazepines. That was a very long time ago. I emerged from all that. So I host these Zoom calls twice a week to support anyone who would like to follow this trail of breadcrumbs out of that. And so this is just the template of the Zoom calls. And I'm here to support anyone who's made that decision. It's a very difficult decision. It's a very courageous decision. And some of us here, are at various places in our emergence. I call it emergence. Some people are still tapering their meds. Some people, are completely emerged from their medications. But truly, it was the best decision I ever could have made. It took a lot of work, but I'm grateful for it all. Because I came. So that's that's what you missed in the introduction.
All right. I'm glad you made this decision. I know it's a tough decision because, I've been in psychiatric care since 2005, on and off. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a very tough situation because, in my case, I'm isolated because of the diagnosis and, all these things going on. So I do not know how to really get out of the system. It's very tough once you're in it. And they make sure that, you have no support, no way to get out of it, Hello?
That was beautifully well said. That is exactly the reason I assembled this ministry in the first place, because that's where I found myself in the mental health system. And, I spent a lot of time saying, things should be different things. And I heard a voice said, yeah, things should be different. And you ought to start, a template model and start supporting others. I've got to be a part of the solution. I just invite you, Carrie, to look at this website that I've created, to go over I've got 137 videos. There is a better way. There's hope. It takes courage. It takes work, but we do that here twice a week. We support one another, and it takes grace. I shared in the beginning, it's not religious. I'm not telling anybody they need, any sort of a personal savior or any sort of a religion, but it was grace. And we've even got, down below, I'm going to ask Grace Beloved to speak next. Sure. Grace Beloved even has her name. Her real name's Raina, but Grace Beloved is what we call her because it does take grace. Yeah. And I'm completely, the fear-based model that, I've worked so hard to unwind is that our brain's been damaged, chemical imbalance. It wasn't true in my story. None of it was true. So I'm just glad to have you on board. We want to love you out of this. We want to love you. No, we want to love you through this.
Right, because the medication, makes the imbalance. Nothing before, our brain were not imbalanced before.
I'm very careful with my words because I don't want to judge psychiatry. And the minute I start to protest psychiatry, I'm back in my mental illness.
Gotcha.
What we do here is we're not going to, the problem's kind of evident. So we anchor the solution. And, my solution is to turn the whole thing around, reframe it, with gratitude, because of that psychiatric parable, I get to support others.
True.
And, because of that psychiatric parable, Spirit said to me, nothing has gone wrong in your story. And that's a very hard statement to make. So I have to back it up with videos. I have to back it up with outreach calls. What I also anchor in this ministry was a video that I posted, in August of 2021, which started all of this. Because the narrative going around these communities, and they're called withdrawal communities. Cindy Snowden calls them the medically injured community, and I'm kind of careful with the word injured. But what I did, Carrie, was I posted a video that said, "You've not been damaged by psych meds and benzodiazepines." And I looked into my iPhone when I was doing the selfie video, because who we are cannot be damaged.
Right.
And that is the anchor and the cornerstone of all the work that we do here. And that's what caught the most attention. And so I realized that's where I'm anchoring this, because it's fright. There's fear going around, and the purpose of this ministry is to push the fear aside and anchor faith.
Good.
Yeah. It's got a lot of courage to do this, but it only takes, and I'll use some bit. Watson, it's funny, on Sunday he apologized for using biblical language, but I'm not adverse to biblical language. It only takes the faith of a mustard seed.
Right.
And because trust me, 10 years ago, I was a mess. I've been in 2 treatment centers already. So.
God.
But I've built this ministry on the foundation of a 12-step model, because I walked into 12 steps, back in the late 1980s, and we just got together and we loved one another, warts and all.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I hope you hear something this evening that you can, relate to. And I want to let you know, this is being recorded. We record these for an hour for YouTube, because we have archives. People go back and watch the archives. But after the hour, I turn the recording off. So if there's something, too personal to share on the internet, then I'll leave the Zoom room open for as ever long as people want to use it. So
Okay.
just glad to have you on board.
Thanks.
When I was going through the throes of my withdrawals, I said a lot of prayers, because I was considering suicide. I'll talk about suicide. I was that far down. But I just kept praying, to Great Spirit, and the help kept arriving, not to fix my pain, but to give me the courage to take the next right step, and the next right step, and the next resource, and the next angel. And one of my angels his name was Juan, who passed away, several years ago, but who saw I was at home, depressed, couldn't get off the couch, going through all these withdrawals, and would just, some days if my door was locked, he would climb through the window and just enter my living room and say, "Keep going, kiddo, keep going."
Okay.
Yeah. Like we say in AA, don't stop 5 minutes before the miracle.
All right.
Yeah. I understand the psychiatric model, like the back of my hand, because they're operating in an old paradigm. They're operating in a what I call a caterpillar paradigm. So, the psychiatric model is for caterpillars, but foundation of this ministry is we're not caterpillars, we're butterflies.
Right.
So I've taken all these withdrawals and I've compartmentalized them into a very simple box. I call it a pharmacologically induced dark night of the soul.
Right.
And the moment I reframed my withdrawals into a dark night of the soul, suddenly, instead of trying to go backwards, I started to get pulled forwards, because the dark night of the soul is something that every mystic, throughout history has been asked to go through a dark night of the soul. So what, in the 21st century, so if ours are induced by, psych meds and benzodiazepines, that's what's, the 21st century offers. When it gets reframed into a dark night of the soul, then suddenly the resources and the tools, it wasn't about an imbalance in brain chemistry anymore. It was the light began to appear, and that's what I'm sharing with others.
Sure.
I know who's going to speak to that next, and her name is Beloved Grace. And I know she's going to speak.
Welcome, Carrie. Welcome. Yeah, I just love to see new faces, and I love that Kenneth has started this. I love that we come here to love, and that's our bottom line. Really, we can talk. A Course in Miracles, like 50 quadrillion words in it, and big thick book, but we can just say we're here to love.
Sure.
And love is the cure. And what is love?
Thanks.
That's what we didn't know. We just didn't know what it was. I thought it was money, 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 and success and fame. And and it's just so hilarious to me now. I was so like 110% focused on that. And I am in Georgia. I live in Mexico, but I'm back in Georgia. And this is where my dark night of the soul was. And it's so fabulous to be back in the same place. Nothing's changed. It's the same place. But I have this is exciting.
Mhm.
This is what it was for. So I have to come all full circle right back into what I thought was my worst hell of place to be. And it is heaven. Relationships turn to heaven. Relationships that I thought because of my mental illness never could be repaired. Since mental illness in my particular community family is just not real. It's not a real excuse for bad behavior. And I am bad behavior, girl. Anger, me. Me. And so I do want to speak about anger. I think probably all of us are here because we're mad at God. If the bottom line is, yeah, fuck you, fucked up. Things was what you're not doing it my way. But everything, like Kenneth continually reminds us, nothing's gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. We rode this horse there. I certainly rode my horse where I wanted it to go, with my hard head and my twisted goals of what I thought would make me happy, fulfilled, everything that I thought this life would give me. And I just laugh at it now. I'm back here looking around at all the things I used to just desire so much and thinking it would just save me. These things on caterpillar level. We can't, this is never going to work. You're just going to just stay here, going here, looking for this, never. So we don't even deal with this. I couldn't, when I got diagnosed bipolar, what did that mean for my life, my children, my family? What does it mean? I go on Social Security and get disability because sometimes I'm crazy? It didn't kind of work for me. And, medication for the rest of my life? Are you kidding? I don't even have coverage. Then you're not giving it to me free, so that wasn't going to work. So some of us had to bang it out ourselves and find what kind of way to work. And then we just loose and crazy because we don't have no care. We don't have nobody drugging us and stuff like that. And we just take our own little medications, whatever we find that helps us, and find our way. But it's the same journey because we're all here, the same thing. And I understand Kenneth. I don't know anything about what he went through, but I understand what he went through. I understand the spiritual side of it because I think that's where we all meet. All of our stories I love the stories. Don't get me wrong. I go through these archives and listen to the stories. They're just great. Because you're like, are you kidding me? And you're still standing? And we should celebrate it. We are still standing. We're still here after all kinds of baloney that went on in our lives. All kinds of outrageousness, all kinds of unjust. And I want to speak about this anger. I love that the Course in Miracles says, Anger is never justified. It never says you can't be angry. That's crazy. We often hear it like that. We often hear it's about behavior. It's nothing. Course in Miracles never talking about your behavior. The Course in Miracles never talking about this caterpillar world, this body and banging around here. We just have to know anger. Alexa, cancel. I'm at my daughter's house. She has Alexa everywhere. I mean, oh my gosh. Anger is never justified, but it doesn't mean we can't express it, that we don't feel it. Yeah, of course. Express all you want. And I believe, need to be tolerant of people just being crazy. I don't have a gun. I'm just a crazy. I'll run around screaming and stuff, but I'm harmless. I had to tell one time, this is really true. I went in the library. I had some bug in my mind. And I went in the library and I just was ranting and raving in the library like a crazy woman. And they were trying to be very patient with me and everything. And at the time, I don't realize it. I just angry. I'm expressing myself. I'm just, and I'm just being me. And I left.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who froze? Or are we still
froze.
recording?
Oh, I hear you, Kenneth. Anyways, so, and they were so cool at the library. They didn't call the police. The lady just said, okay, ma'am, okay, ma'am, okay, ma'am. She just listened, let me rant. And then, because when no one matches that energy, at least if you stay neutral, you just, it helps me if you remain calm. Now, I don't expect everybody to know that, but I think maybe we could become, because I know how crazy I get. And when people stay calm around me, when people go crazy around me, I know to stay calm, that's helpful. Not matching that energy, but to stay calm and, if possible, connect with love. And just hold the space for them to go crazy. Say, okay, going crazy. Go ahead. Just take it over there. If you're going to throw something, don't break my thing. Just, whatever you need to do, but let them do their thing. Anger is okay. It's just, you just don't justify it. You don't justify, you can acknowledge, I'm angry. But I know it's my anger that I made that's never justified. And it's certainly not you that caused it. And a lot of us got here because we blamed the world, we blamed God, we blamed society, we blamed parents, we blamed blah, 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 blah. We all mad about something. Nobody's telling us not to be mad. But mental illness will keep you mad. And then drugs just repress it, or whatever they're doing that they were trying to get me to calm down. I hate when people tell me to calm down. It just makes me mad. Just we can be angry. We're just not going to justify it here. We're not going to justify. We're not going to be victims. We're not going to stay in our stories. We're not going to do that here. That's not the place. We're here. We're here to celebrate emergence from it. And if you're down there, caterpillar running around, depressed and shit, we've been there too. We've been half a minute to, ending it all. We thought. Some of us just, don't make it, and we're just back here again, because that ain't no escape. So we already said, we're here to do the work. We're here to support you. We're your cheerleader. I'm the big cheerleader. Yeah, we're gonna dance and shake it up. Yeah. Get it
That
out.
is not bipolar. That is happy.
I had to come through that. I had to say, is this me, or is this my diagnosis? Are they telling me I'm just too much for the world? Am I supposed to be like this nice Catholic girl I was raised to be? Not going to happen. So yeah, we have a lot of laughs here. We yuck it up. We laugh at it. And we're serious at the same time, because to be back here where I am now, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. This is why I'm beloved grace. The grace got me here. Grace of Source, God, Allah, whatever you want to call this beautiful love we are held in all the time, whether I'm mad or not. whether I'm mad and God, you're making God's just like, oh, that's okay, go ahead. He don't get mad. He don't get mad. He's just like, wake up, honey, wake up.
Carrie, it's beautiful to see. You've got a beautiful smile. It's just beautiful. When if there's nothing more than we can do in this, hour, is to bring the smile back to somebody who may have felt alone and isolated. Because I know the isolation, then we're procuring the miracle. And speaking of miracles, I got another miracle down. My other miracle is my mighty companion cat. And Kat, do you feel comfortable? Do you want to just listen, or do you want to share how you been? It's been a week. We just performed a major feat last week, and I'd love to hear how you're doing.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
You. First of all, I want to say I really am grateful you're doing this, Ken, because I kind of, you mentioned something about being censored, and I was just wondering before you said that if you're not getting some flack from people about this subject. And so I really respect that you've stepped up, and if you are or aren't, I just imagine it's not an easy thing to do. And so thank you for doing that. Yeah, it was quite a week, wasn't it? Well, it was quite a month, actually. There was a lot of like, I want to say pressure, but it didn't feel like pressure. It felt like a roller coaster is what it felt like to me. I've used that word to describe it a couple of times because, when you're focused on doing something that's looking towards the light, the ego doesn't like that much and will retaliate. And so there was retaliation from the ego, and then that would force me to go into prayer and meditation. And so then I'd feel connected with the spirit and get some clarity on like, step back, you're not in control of this whole thing, and let spirit take care of it. And when I stepped out of the way, it was easy. It was quite lovely. But yeah, it seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong the day of the event. From my perspective, yeah, shit happened. I had to call a locksmith, couldn't check into my hotel. Oh, yeah. So, but you know what? It was like, I was just being carried at that point. I was, and it was all, it didn't affect the content is what I want to say. It seemed like the form was falling apart. All these things were happening, but it was a beautiful, lovely evening. And I'm just really hoping that the video gets on YouTube here any minute. Because that was one of the things. I stepped back, and it was kind of a cool thing. My son-in-law ended up recording it for us, and he believes that he's an atheist. And so it was really cool this happened, that he's recording the spiritual teacher talking about Jesus left and right and God, and and he did a beautiful job, but he kept it and he edited it. Normally it goes straight to the team and they do that. And so I imagine they were a little bit like off center with it too, but this was how, this was just like, it fell into place. This was how it was supposed to happen. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I told you this, Kenneth, but so Bill was editing it, and Suava sang 3 beautiful songs while David was speaking. And so he edited some stained glass windows while she was singing. And so he had to sync up, I guess, the words with the video. And so he had to keep playing this one, and he got these words stuck in his head. And he was quite perturbed about it, actually. He wasn't happy. He got the words, "It's all in God's hands." stuck in his head and couldn't get him out. And, and when he told me that, I just went, oh, that's lovely, you know? Wow. And so, yeah, and then the file, he did such a beautiful job. It was like, he could have published it to like a big screen is what he did. I mean, it was huge file. And then he had to compress it. And oh, it was like, and I had to step back from that too. So I don't know how they're doing there in Utah with it, but I understand they got the small version. They're good with that. And eventually they'll figure out how to send that bigger file.
Kat, for the purpose of Carrie, real briefly, I want to. That's great. I kind of, as a moderator, I steer and guide. Can you share with Carrie real briefly? You know, some of because we all know your testimony, but she's someone who's brand new here. To inspire her and give her some hope. You know, briefly your testimony of your experience with, you know, emerging from your parable. You know, because you're one of the way showers here. You know, you've emerged from something that. You're one of the miracles, and I want to give the newcomer a miracle story. You are a miracle. Keep smiling.
Well, it's kind of like I have to, it seems like another lifetime actually now, but yeah, oh geez. You know, I was just thinking about it. And I attempted suicide when I was 16. I was raised in a really fundamentalist Mormon family, and it was pretty rigid beliefs. And I really don't know. Anyway, it was never spoken of in the family ever. It was just like my mother said, "How could you do this to me?" Yeah, I took every pill in the medicine cabinet, and how could you do this to me? And then it was never, ever spoken of again. I began drinking and drugging. Well, I didn't really like to drink, but I began to do a lot of anything I could find to change the way I felt. And that went on for a long time. You know, probably till I was 30. Lots of bad behavior. Beloved, I don't know. We could compare war stories, but yeah. Oh yeah. It wasn't a pretty life. And then it got out of control, and I got into 12 steps, and that wasn't, oh my, like a bunch of treatment centers, lots of AA meetings. Took me forever to get a year together. And just a mess. And when I got clean and sober, I went from bad behavior to suicidal big time because I wasn't medicating myself any longer to feel okay. And so, yeah, then there are 3 more attempts. And just like I said, it took me years to get any kind of long-term sobriety together. And they put me on every freaking medication. They, diagnoses of, major depression and a bunch of labels, DID and bipolar type 2, lots of labels. They spent hours and hours asking me questions, trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. And they tried all these pills. I remember one time telling the doctor to take his antidepressants and shove them because the side effects were just god awful. And then they put me on Paxil, and that was not a happy drug to come off of. I guess I don't know if I should talk about this stuff, but anyway, I was, through grace, I'm sure, being carried then too, able to not have to take anything anymore. Eventually, even, I had panic attacks, and those were pretty recent. because I think depression can kind of morph a little bit, maybe sometimes, and changes forms and shows up in a different way. And I started to have anxiety and panic attacks, put me in the hospital emergency room thinking I was dying a few times. And so I quit those drugs too. And and I would have to say that it's been a spiritual path. It's been the 12 steps. It's been A Course in Miracles that's allowed me to feel like that was another life. That was a different person. I don't have anxiety. I don't have depression. I'm basically happy, except for, I get triggered. I got triggered today. Just today, I got triggered. Somebody seemingly attacked me, and I felt like I was, unjustly attacked. Like I have the right not to expect that, first of all. Anyway, and so I bought a ball cap, and it's my way of venting this. It says, if karma doesn't smack you, I'm going to. I knew you'd get a laugh out of that, but I don't know. So my spiritual ego probably won't let me wear that anywhere. Anyway, so yeah, but it's, that's the way it is. Unless I sit here in my house and don't interact. Well, even if I just sit here in my house and I don't interact with anybody, if I play with my mind, if I play around in there, it's almost as bad as if I go out and have people physically attack me, because, there's this voice in my head still that tells me I'm a piece of shit and unworthy of God's love. And, that I need to act a certain way or you're not going to like me, or, it's just the Course talks about mind training, watching your mind. And it is a very deep spiritual practice, watching the thoughts that pass through your mind and observing them. And they're pretty pathetic most of the time. I've come to find that the ego thought system is really
it's the ego's thought system that asks the question, what's wrong with us? That is a question that comes directly from the ego. So the whole allopathic model that, and I don't listen, my first psychiatrist had a huge heart. He was as much a victim of psychiatry as I was. It's the ego that asks the question, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. It would be a caterpillar question to look at the cocoon and say, what's wrong with you? You're dissolving in the cocoon. What a caterpillar question. The question can come from the caterpillar, or the question can come from the butterfly. The caterpillar is going to say, and look at the cocoon and say, you're turning to mush. Something's wrong. Of course, something's wrong from the caterpillar perspective. This whole ministry has got to come from the butterfly perspective, which is going to say something's going very right. We do dissolve in the cocoon. There's no doubt about it. It's 100%, turning to mush. But the butterflies know. And we're all, emerging into the butterfly. They just instinctively know that, yes, the caterpillar is dissolving. Again, we're not caterpillars. I love the caterpillar stories, because if we can put more of them together, we create this notebook, and we put it in a binder, and so the people who go into the cocoons next are going to realize the way to slide out of the cocoon is to ask the butterfly question, is to surrender to it, allow it. And it takes faith, it takes grace. And I'm here, as a lighthouse, I'm 10 times better off because of my psychiatric parable.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks, Kat, for sharing that. I think it's so beautiful that we can talk about this. And we all have those recurring judgments. And those judgments to not react, because we're not here to judge.
Mm.
We're not here to fight against anything. And even as we hear a voice tell us we're unworthy, we hear it and we ask Spirit, Jesus, whoever your mentor, spiritual mentor, I don't know, angel, to help you just look at this and see what kind of mind would tell itself unloving things.
Mm.
It can't be a sane mind. This was my biggest challenge, was to separate truth from all the falseness I had learned and believed in and lived my life as. And that is the caterpillar world, which we're all victims of, if you will, and really self-victimized if we're being truthful. We chose to be our own gods. I did. I thought I knew best for me. Fuck everybody else and God too. Nah, if you ain't doing it my way, So this was a humbling. The caterpillar is a great analogy because I was mush. It took me to be crushed to mush. And look at my energy. You can see I was like this before. They tried to say I was crazy. And I'm not going to say I wasn't. On the caterpillar level, hell yeah. Who isn't crazy? If you're not crazy, you should be. Then you're crazy because you're not crazy. You know, if you're in this world thinking anything's going to make you happy, you got to be crazy. That's what I concluded. And what a great, but there's an answer to that. That means this isn't real. That's what I didn't know. I didn't have any answers. I didn't have any answers that I could, God, tell me your love. That's what I knew in my heart. God was only love. He couldn't be all these responsible for all this other craziness and chaos and craziness going around me. I couldn't believe a God responsible for that. And many of us, it's not new. We're not unique to our little devils. You know, Kat, I got that same voice tells me, I'm like, fuck you. You know, I am a child of God. But that's why we're in A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles always says you are a child of God, you're a son of God, you're the prodigal son, you ain't never left God, you just think you did in your nightmare. Wake up. Wake the heck up. Emerge from that nightmare. Emerge from that dream. We're emerging. We're not, there's nothing you can do. We're not doing anything. There's nothing in your body to do. You can't, run up and down 10 miles a day and you'll be fixed, or, take these pills and you'll be fixed, or do this and you'll be fixed. We're not fixing. I love that Kenneth says we're not here to fix the caterpillar. My life was a catastrophe. Yeah, Kenneth's like me too. Catastrophe. I was a rolling catastrophe, like full speed ahead. And has my life improved? Yeah, it's just a side effect of it. Mental health, feeling joy, connecting to truth. Oh, everything has transformed. Everything. And the side effect is that my life got better too. On the caterpillar level. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? Nothing's gone wrong. Let me say that again. Even in my regular caterpillar life, if you looked at my life now, people are like, what? How did you get there? You were such a catastrophe. How could you possibly be successful? You were a crazy bitch. How could you be successful now? How can you be functioning in this caterpillar world and just doing your business and doing all? And these were gifts of my so-called illness that I am successfully engaging in now. So I just want to say, we're not going to look like the same. We're going to be doing different things. We're going to be doing unique things. We're going to be doing it. I mean, Kenneth's got this unique ministry, psychiatric sobriety. think about that. Sober psyche. I don't know. I just love it. And that's what we do. We just think of just the things to describe what's happening now. This is the only time it could happen, because now consciousness, the whole universal consciousness is raising. Love will win. This is love's time. This is why the darkness has to come out, so that it can dissipate. It's nothing. All of us will say at the end of emergence, it was, how could I have been scared of that? It was a rope I thought was a fucking snake. We all gonna say that. We go, I was, but we're gonna remember, yeah, but I really believed it. Yeah, I really believed it. Just like when I was 16, I thought, knight in shining armor was going to sweep me up and ride me off, and all fantasies, all grasping for nothingness. When it's all about love. It's all about love. Those unworthy thoughts only need love. We don't fight them. We see them. We ask to look at them without judging ourselves or another or anything for having these thoughts or lapses or whatever. Those aren't our thoughts anyways. That's consciousness. We're going to have all kinds of thoughts going. Blah, blah, blah. What are we going to listen to? Truth only. We're here to truth. The more truth you have, truth rises your frequency, that shit drops from you. Many of my things dropped from me. I could not. One of my greatest spiritual teachers, Byron Katie, said when she emerged, she couldn't eat meat. Her tongue would bleed. That's a clear sign that you're not supposed to eat meat. I don't know what will happen to each one of us, but there's clear signs. Something will shut down when you're not supposed to do that. You can't do that no more. You done did it all this time, but now your elevation's here. We're talking about the invisible. We're talking about, and these things have been scientifically proved. Don't get me wrong, but we'll never find it unless you really seek the truth. It's been buried because, the caterpillar wants to save its life. The caterpillar doesn't know that it's going to become a butterfly. It thinks, but what will I lose? My caterpillar. I'm going to lose all my little legs and crawling around on the ground and eating leaves, I guess. I don't know. But, we're afraid we're going to lose what? I was going to lose my ambition. I was going to lose my passion. I already lost my mind. But there's nothing to lose, really. Let me say that I didn't lose anything. I gained everything. And I am eternally grateful for my journey. Eternally grateful. It took that to get me here, to tell me it's all about love, and it's joy, and it's better than anything. And even if you think you're going 2 steps back, it's okay. You're not. Because 2 steps back, you're not on the caterpillar level. You might go 2 steps back, but you're on this level. So it don't feel like that level. You see what I'm saying? It's okay. It's still progress. We're going to the light. We are becoming light. That is the point of all of this. We're all going to be just shining light, shining light. You're going to have to darken your screen to see it's because we just shining so much light. It's really nurturing and cultivating, and just it's about love, connection, and to say, show me love. Has to be shown. We don't know. The ego says love means protect me at all costs, protect this body, and do everything for this parent body that I seem to be trapped in. Do everything for this body. Do things for your spirit. Do things for how you feel. This is what they don't let you do. They don't tell me, yes, you could. You're feeling this passion. Go follow your passion. No, go get a job and sit down and do something you hate, just so you can make some money and support blah blah. No, we're not here to do nothing for caterpillar. We're here to be butterflies. Amazing, beautiful, fluttering, expansive, uplifting butterflies. Bam.
And for the record, if that's bipolar, I want what she's got. All right, folks, we're going to keep the Zoom room open, but that's our hour of recording, because I want stuff like that so people can watch it, because that's where the wealth is. I mean, listen, you know, before I lost $1 million, folks. I'll just come out and tell the internet, I lost $1 million. What she just shared is worth $10 billion to the power of 10, because that's what life's all about, folks. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I want to thank Watson. I want to thank Beloved. I want to thank Kat, and I want to thank our newcomer, Carrie. And this is Kenneth Price on Wednesday, October 26th for our 33rd midweek Zoom call recording. We're going to leave the Zoom room open, you know, for as long as you guys want, but I got to go downstairs and eat some dinner. So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave your comments below. I need all the participants. This is not my ministry. This is our ministry. It operates on feedback, participation, and people who want to emerge. This is how we emerged, and we're here to extend the miracle and the message and the love. So God bless. Visit the website in the description line, psychiatricsobriety.com. And may the force be with you. Have a great week. See you on Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Bye.
Thank